走路，就是3个太高了。不要太高，你觉得220、230都不要穿那些，都不要穿。真是好，不要穿什么200，什么标准裤，年纪大了就是这样子。然后稍微注意一下就好，不要特意绝对不能吃药，效果。不能吃药，当然不能吃药。你看听妈妈听了讲，你没有250以上的，当然吃药。好。我买啊，以后我特别买生意，人家说千万不要，没吃药了，少去那个我们少吃那些，对不对？油脂的那种油炸的，什么这种常吃那个卤肉饭，他可能吃，随便吃，稍微节制一下，对，稍微控制一下，对不对？好，千万不要吃药，好，不要管吃。生活开心最重要。对呀，因为这个是比较亲切的，对不对？210我220、200，我这样前面。我这种身材，我这个体重，我都不怕。你身材好，我现在都是75。那你很好啊。对啊，这样就。So then Friday, I went back to the hospital. After I got my hearing test, then I went to the hospital and they were like, "Where are you?" The ankle is out. How's it going? Fine. Every day is the same. No news is good news, right? Yes. Yes. That's right. Hello, how are you guys doing today? Everybody okay? Yes. How about you? Your voice is getting back? Yeah, my voice is strong. I feel pretty strong. Okay. Yeah. Doing well. Okay. Let me get out the microphone just in case. Well, it's a good day, isn't it? And this week is supposed to be wonderful weather, right? Yeah. Coming up, it's supposed to be really nice temperatures. The sun is going to shine. Sunshiny day. We have a sunshiny day, and we should have a sunshiny week. So hopefully everybody will go outside, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the time when it's not even supposed to rain. That's amazing. Until next weekend, and then we're all be cold next Saturday. But that's until next Saturday, we can enjoy the sunshine. I'll be going to Sun Moon Lake tomorrow because I have a meeting. It's not for fun, it's a meeting. I go there, I'll leave tomorrow and come back on Thursday. So we do have our class next Friday. No problem, okay? All right, today we're gonna sing one of the songs that we sing often. And it's not that one. There we go. All your ways are good, all your ways are sure. And I will trust in you alone, higher than my sight, high above my life. I will trust in you alone. 'Cause all your ways are good, all your ways are sure. And I will trust in you alone, higher than my sight, high above my life. I will trust in you alone. Where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. When you move, I'll move. I will follow you. Who you love, I'll love. How you serve, I'll serve. If this life I lose, I will follow you. I will follow you. Light unto the world, light unto my life. I will live for you alone. You're the one I seek, knowing I will find all I need in you alone. In you alone. Where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. When you move, I'll move. I will follow you. Who you love, I'll love. How you serve, I'll serve. If this life I lose, I will follow you. I will follow you. One more time, light unto the world. Light unto the world, light unto my life. I will live for you alone. You're the one I seek, knowing I will find all I need in you alone. In you alone. It's where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. When you move, I'll move. I will follow you. Who you love, I'll love. How you serve, I'll serve. If this life I lose, I will follow you. It's where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. When you move, I'll move. I will follow you. Who you love, I'll love. How you serve, I'll serve. If this life I lose, I will follow you. I will follow you. In you there's life everlasting. In you there's freedom for my soul. In you there's joy, unending joy. And I will not go, 'cause in you there's life everlasting. And in you there's freedom for my soul. In you there's joy, unending joy. And in you, there's life everlasting, and in you, there's freedom for my soul. In you, there's joy, unending joy, and I will follow. It's where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. When you move, I'll move. I will follow you. Who you love, I'll love. How you serve, I'll serve. And if this life I lose, I will follow you. 'Cause where you go, I'll go. And where you stay, I'll stay. And when you move, I'll move. I will follow you. And who you love, I'll love. And how you serve, I'll serve. If this life I lose, I will follow you. I will follow you. I will follow you. I will follow you. We're gonna sing a song that maybe we sing one time, maybe two times, I don't know. But this is a heart's cry. This is to be like Jesus. When we follow Jesus, we don't only follow him, we become more like him because we are with him. When you're with somebody, you become like that person. We should become more like Jesus, right? That should be our desire above everything, to be like him. To be like Jesus, to be like Jesus, All I ask is to be like Him. All through life's journey, from earth to glory, all I ask is to be like Him, to be like Jesus, to be like Jesus, to be like Jesus. All I ask is to be like Him, and all through life's journey, from to glory, all I ask is to be like Him. Father, you see us, your children who love you, and you know that without you, we can't change. Without you, we have no power to be good, to be kind, to be joyful in the midst of sorrow, to be hopeful even in the midst of despair. All of that comes because you are with us. And Lord, our desire above everything is to be more like you, to love people the way that you love people, to serve people the way that you taught us to serve others. Now we ask, Lord, that you will teach us your ways. Help us to know what you want us to do. And then, Lord, we invite you to give us the power that we need to do everything you called us to do. And we give you the praise. In Jesus' name we pray. To be like Jesus, to be like Jesus. All I ask is to be like Him. All through life's journey, from earth to glory, all I ask is to be like Him. One last song I want us to do today. We follow the Lord hopefully for one reason, because we love Jesus above everything else. And I know that a lot of times we do what we're supposed to do because God commands us to do it, but He really wants us to follow Him and serve Him because we love Him, not because we have to, but because we want to. And that's the key to having a joyful life, is loving Jesus with everything. Amen. I will serve Thee because I love Thee. You have given life to me, and I was nothing before you found me. You have given life to me. One more time, I will serve Thee. I will serve Thee because I love Thee. You have given life to me, and I was nothing before me. You have given life to me. You died on Calvary. It's what I long for. You have given life to me. One last time I will serve Thee, and I will serve Thee because I love Thee. Have given You have given life to you have given life to. Today we're going to talk about vows, making vows. And when we think about vows, we think of things that we sign our life away, right? We promise, we do all those things, which is what we're going to talk about. But I wanted to sing this song because this song, it goes beyond any vows, beyond any promise, because love should be the motivating factor, the motivation for our lives as Christians. Love should be the motivation, not a vow, not a promise, but love. Because love is what keeps us going. Even when the difficult times come, the love that God has for us and the love that we have for Him. And that covers everything. Because Jesus said, if you love God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength, and you love others as yourself, you'll do what's right. You'll make the right choices, right? If you love God and you love others, you will make the right choices. You won't need a contract. You won't need a promise. You definitely won't need to swear if you love God, right? Okay. Thank you, Charlotte. Once again, appreciate your help today. Okay, vows. Now, I know sometimes when you hear the word vows, right? Has the same pronunciation as what? No, not that. I wrote the wrong one. No, you. It is a you, isn't it? Okay, I'm gonna have Caitlin's help again today. You, right? I mean, I have to write it small. I can't write it in little and big. No, it's W. W. Right? Now, what's the difference between these two? Pronunciation is the same. Vowels. What is this? Did you find it, Caitlin? Well, then I spelled it wrong. Let me figure out how to spell it. Is it VOULS? Now I'm gonna have to go home and see what. No, it can't be VOU. It cannot be. ELS, ma. Oh, there we go. See, I cannot spell worth anything. Okay. Okay. Now, what is a vowel? This vowel. There you go. A-E-I-O-U. That's right. A-E-I-O-U is a vowel, right? But the pronunciation is the same. You can't hear a difference between vowels and vowels. It's pronounced the same, just spelled different. But this vowel is a what? With what we're going to learn today. And this vowel is A-E-I-O-U. Okay. First, I want us to turn to the end of the chapter and let's look at our vocabulary words on page 38. At the very end, page 38. Let's look at the vocabulary first, so we can understand what we're talking about. Vow is the first word, vow, just like we wrote. Vow. Now, if it's plural and you add s to it, you have to say vows. So you have to have the n at the end, vows, but vow. You can make a vow, okay? We can make a vow. I'm gonna share with you the verbs that we use when we connect it, because vow is a noun. So the verbs that we use is make. Okay, make a vow. You can keep a vow. You can break a vow.
Right.
Hope I spelled that right too. I'm horrible at spelling. Break a vow. That means when you don't keep the vow, you broke the vow. Right? That's past tense. Broke, break. Break the vow, keep the vow, make a vow. Oh. Let me see. Trying to think if there's any other verbs that we will use with that. I guess you could say we could create a vow, but that's the same thing as make, to create a vow. But most of the time we say make a vow. Because make has to do with to promise, to make a vow is to say I do. That's making a vow. It's not actually writing the vow. So create a vow is a little bit different. That's the person who makes up the vow. The person who writes it out will create a vow. Okay? So when we're having a conversation about vows, I might ask you, did you make a vow? Did you make a vow? So that just means, did you make a promise, right? A promise, a covenant. Now, the vow that Jesus talks about in the scriptures is a little bit different than a promise, a little bit different than a marriage vow, which what we're going to talk about in a minute. Jesus is talking about a culture and a time where the people of that time would use many things to swear. Now, we'll talk about that in a minute, because swear is a different word. We'll go there, okay? I just want you to know what words we use, verbs we use when we're talking about a vow, okay? Any questions on this or any other verb you might think of? Because I can't think of another one.
Keep it off.
Off? You mean like take?
Wow. Oh, O-A-T-H.
O-A-T, oath.
Oh.
Oath.
Oh.
Oath. A vow can also be an oath, yes. O-A-T-H. And also with an oath, we use the same verbs. You make an oath, you keep an oath, you break an oath. Or we also, with oath, the only different word or verb that we'll use that we don't use with vow, we only use with oath, is to take. Take an oath. We don't take a vow. I can't even think of why we would say take a vow. We don't take a vow. But we do take an oath. An oath, the difference is an oath is like when you go into the military, you take an oath.
Before the contest, competition, the judo was first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Follow the rule.
Oh. So what is the oath in judo?
You follow the rule,
Okay, so your oath would say, when you take an oath, you say, I will follow the rules.
Yeah.
of the competition.
Yeah.
I won't break the rules or do something I'm not supposed to. I will listen to the referee. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know in judo you have to take an oath. Interesting. A commitment is when you make a commitment, the only difference between vows and oaths and commitments is I can make a commitment and not raise my hand, not sign anything. I just make a commitment to you, right? Like I would say, oh, I'll be there next Sunday and I'll teach that class, right? That's a commitment. Well, it's not, it's different than a vow. A vow and an oath is more serious. It's more binding. Right? Oh, thanks. I'm sorry. For all you on the online, I'm sorry about that too. Okay, a vow, the difference between a commitment and a vow and an oath.
It's like promise?
Yeah, it's like a promise, more like a promise, like I promise you I'll teach, or I promise you I'll go with you. I'll make a commitment. A commitment is important, and a commitment should be binding also, but a vow and an oath is more binding. In fact, a vow and an oath are more what we call, in many cases, legally binding. Right? It's more serious, because legally you can be sued, or you can lose your job, or you can get a divorce. You will have some consequences with a vow or an oath, whereas a commitment, maybe you don't show up and people just think, I can't trust you, but they're not gonna sue you. That's the difference. It's a level, just a level of importance. However, that's what Jesus was trying to teach here, is that as believers, we shouldn't have like, we should always keep our promises. We should always keep our commitment. We should not have to make a vow. That's what Jesus is saying. You should not have to make a vow. As believers, our word should be our bond. And that's what we're going to talk about. That means that if I say yes, it means yes. If I say no, it means no. And that's what we'll talk about in a minute, okay? Any other questions on this? Break a vow, keep a vow, make a vow, create a vow. Okay? Let's go on to the next one. Here we go, legal, see? I said legally. Legally binding. Legal means what? What does legal mean? Legal has to do with the law. That's right. Legal has to do with the law. If something is legal, then it's according to the law. You can do it. If something is illegal, you are breaking the law. It's a crime. So legal is has to do with vows and oath. That's like a wedding vow. You have to make your wedding vow, your marriage, legal. So you might ask somebody, is your marriage legal? Now, what does that mean? If I ask, is your marriage legal? What does that mean? In Taiwan, how do you make your marriage legal in Taiwan? Okay, maybe you have a wedding party.
You have a contract.
You have a contract, you have a contract, but just because you sign a contract does not make it legal. What do you have to do besides sign a contract? Okay, how do you do that? How do you make it official? Nobody remembers. No, I'm kidding. It's like, what did we do?
Party and the registry.
Yeah, that's right. You have to go register with the government, right? You have to take your certificate to the proper authorities and register for it to be legal. Now, what can make your marriage certificate or your wedding or your relationship, whatever you want to say, commitment, illegal? Do you know? Let's say you get married You sign the marriage certificate, you go to the courthouse, you register. And then later you find out your marriage is illegal. Why?
You didn't register, you didn't.
No, you did register. You did have witnesses that signed. There were witnesses, everything. What can make it illegal? You know? Yeah, go ahead, Philip.
And you find your partner, he or she is married.
That's right.
You got it.
That's right. You got it. The right answer. You find out that your partner, whether it's your husband or wife, was married before and didn't tell you, or they were still married and they didn't tell you. And then you get a notice from the government, this person is married to somebody else. And then you have a problem. So that's the difference between legal and illegal marriages. And some places are different than others, you know. In America, even the states are different. Even in America, the states are different on the laws. What is legal and not.
Divorce.
Too easy too easy now to divorce, but there were there were more conditions before than there are now for marriage too, because before you got, I don't know about Taiwan, but in America, if you wanted to get married, like, let's say 50 years ago, you also had to have a blood test before you could get married to make sure that you're not related. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah, before, we always had to have blood tests, and also, they were also checking the genes to see if you had children, if the children would be affected, because maybe you have a certain kind of a blood type and the other person has another blood type, and together they don't match. So you get all that information. So before, you had to have a blood test. And you could not get married. And also they check for three things. They check for your blood type. They checked for, are you related? And they checked for disease. 50 years ago. But today, nobody gets blood tests anymore. Nobody.
Actually, it's very important.
Yeah, they should, but they don't.
It's very important. It's, our age.
Yes, that's what we're talking about, yeah.
Get your children's no good.
No, I understand. You're right. You're right. That's the reason they did it, because they didn't want you to get married and then later have problems. They want you to know ahead of time what you're getting into, what choice you're making. So, legal and illegal, like you in America before, especially, you were not allowed to marry family members, right? That first cousins even.
Yeah, that's
You-
right.
Yeah, you're not allowed before. Yeah, before they checked, because they didn't want men mixed, because of the genes and the way the kids would turn out, you know. So but now it all is legal. You can do that if you want to, but they warn you not to.
In the Old Testament,
Uh-huh,
like Egypt,
yeah.
marry with the sister.
Oh.
The sister is married.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you know, they had if I remember the history right of Egypt, there was a pharaoh. Yeah, that, oh, boy, yeah, that had a problem, had physical problems because his parents were related. And then he was born and he had a lot of physical problems and did not live very long because of a lot of the problems he had. If I remember right, I'll have to go back and look at history. But anyway, legal. There's lots of things that are legal, things that are illegal. ILLEGAL. ILL. Illegal. Okay. Money back guarantee. Money back guarantee. I'm trying to think. Are there very many things today that you get a money back guarantee for? Anybody recently got a money back guarantee when you bought something? Recently? Not in Taiwan?
Money back guaranteed, like Costco, buy something,
Uh-huh. Costco,
you buy something.
most things, yes, that's true. Costco, most things, if you take it back within 30 days, they guarantee they will give you your money back. They don't even ask you why. That surprised me. But some things, not everything. There are some things you cannot take back, but they list what they are, yes. Anything else you can think of that in Taiwan is a money back guarantee? You buy this, you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. Oh, okay, some places that's true. They'll give you an exchange or they'll give you what we call. Okay, exchange means you can exchange for something else. Right? Exchange. If I don't like this, I go to the store, they will change it, exchange. Or maybe they give you store credit. Store credit. Store credit. What does store credit mean? Use, yeah.
At some point,
Huh? Yeah, like a point system, but it's money. So like, let's say I bought a computer. And I think the computer, it's hard for me to use it. I take it back, but they say, oh no, you've already used it, so we can't give you your money back, but we'll give you store credit. So that means they'll say you have a certain amount of money, like maybe $500, okay? $500 we're just saying $500 use it. Credit, that means you can buy anything else in the store with that $500. It's only their store. They don't give you your money back, but you can use that money in the store, their store, to buy whatever else you might want. That's called store credit. So a lot of stores in the United States do that. They'll say, we don't give a money back guarantee, but we'll give you a store credit. So you bring the item back and you have to buy from their store. You can't buy from anywhere else. So if you don't like their store, you're in trouble because you won't be able to get anything else. And even credit cards do that too sometimes. Sometimes a credit card will do that. They won't give you your money back, but they'll say you have credit on your credit card. So you can use it, when you use the credit card, then they just subtract it. Okay? That's what credit is. Credit means you have more, right? Deficit is minus. Okay.
You buy underwear. You cannot open the bag.
That's right.
Open the bag, you cannot change.
That's exactly right. Underwear is one of those things, there's no money back guarantee for underwear. Or swimsuits.
Yeah.
Swimsuits, yes. If you buy a swimsuit, you can't take that back. I was trying to, and some food you can't take back either. Depends on the packaging of the food. Yes?
Then send round to then then some people so then with the renovation.
They gave your money back? Oh. You have to be in Taiwan, because Taiwan, I think, is one of the easiest places to get your money back. I really do. Taiwan is one of those places, I'm really shocked, even in restaurants. You know, if you have a problem with the food, they'll fix you new food or they'll give you your money back, or they won't charge you. That's amazing. Taiwan still does that. America's a little bit harder.
Sounds popular. Even if they're not popular, they will change your resume.
Yes, and it should, if your food has cockroaches. But I think I told you this story before. One time I went to an ice cream shop in America, and there was a frozen cricket. You know what a cricket is?那个葱的它会，我们说它会唱歌，不是唱歌，它的脚会。You know Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio? Oh, okay, yeah. And the cricket was frozen inside my ice cream. Yeah. Do you think that the store gave me new ice cream or gave my money back? They should, right?
Sure.
They should. Give me yeah, I said no, thank you.
It's 30.
Yeah, they had to throw out the whole thing.
Yeah, whole box.
It was like, what? What is that? At first, because I got strawberry ice cream, I thought it was a strawberry. So I'm looking, that strawberry is very dark for a strawberry. But it's no strawberry, it's a cricket. It was dead, of course, it's frozen inside. And some people eat crickets, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure I could have ate it, but no, thank you. No, thank you. Okay, next word, consequence. Okay, we've talked about this word many times. A consequence is a result, usually bad. Yeah, usually a bad result of a choice that you made. Right? A bad result for a choice that you made is a consequence. Now, because otherwise we would say, we will use different words. If we say, oh, there's consequences, that usually means it's going to be bad. Okay, next, swear.
Swear.
Swear. S-W-E-A-R, swear. You know the song, I swear. Did y'all know that song? By them, what, how's it go? I swear, by the moon, something. Come on, Danny, you know all the old songs.
I'm homemade, yeah.
I swear, now I have that song in my head, okay. Something like that, yeah. Okay, so swear has different meanings, right? In this way, we're talking about when I use something or somebody as a guarantee, or not a guarantee, well, kind of a guarantee to say I'm telling the truth. Right? Now, in America, I've told you this before, in America, we swear, which we're not supposed to, according to the word of God, but in America we do. We swear on the Bible. Right? When we go to court, we put our hand on the Bible, we raise our right hand. Sometimes when we take oaths, I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You can call it an oath, or you can call it swearing, but it's the same thing, okay? So an oath, O-A-T-H, yeah, what we talked about before. When you take an oath, sometimes when we take an oath, like when the president of the United States is sworn in. That's what we say, sworn in. To be sworn in, sworn, the word sworn in comes from the word swear. So if I'm sworn into office, that's what it means. It actually means to swear. Now, swear also has another meaning, which we've talked about before. Swear means to say bad words, is also to swear. So if your mom says to you, don't swear, that means don't use bad language. That can be, don't use 不要讲脏话. right, is also swear. So when your mom says don't swear, it can mean that. But in this case, what we're talking about today is where you use something or someone to say, I'm telling the truth. Or I promise. So either one. Because most of the time when people swear by something, they're trying to convince you that we're telling the truth. Because who in their right mind, if they're not crazy, in their right mind, would put their hand on the Bible and swear and then lie? Who? Lots of people. Lots of people. Lots of people do it, right? We all know it's true. So to be sworn in means, okay, you taking an oath, like when you go to the military, you're sworn into the military. You're sworn into it. I will do what I'm told to do. You're sworn in. It's when you take an office where you have to lift your hand and promise, that's being sworn in. Being sworn into office. This year, when President Trump was sworn into office, his wife was holding President Lincoln's Bible and one other Bible. I think it was President Trump's Bible and President Lincoln's Bible. But I noticed something, I don't know how many other people noticed, but I noticed he did not put his hand on the Bible. I was paying attention, watching. He didn't.
Use the link Bible.
I don't know why you can choose as a president, you can choose, or anybody who's sworn in can choose what Bible you want to use. So he chose President Lincoln's Bible and another Bible, and his wife held it. And I noticed his wife was standing there just looking at him like, hey, you're supposed to put your hand on the Bible. Hey, she's just looking. And he never puts his hand on the Bible and he just keeps going. And I'm thinking, I don't know if he's nervous that he forgot or what. I don't know, but nobody stopped it. Nobody said, put your hand on the Bible either. But most of the time we do. Now, a lot of people, when they swear, because they want you to believe them, they will say certain things. What's some of the things in English that we will say, which we should not say, by the way? 我们不应该这样子讲, but 你常常会听到, okay? Here's some of the things people will say because they want you to believe them. They will say, I swear on my mother's grave. Lots of people say that. I swear on my mother's grave, I'm telling the truth. That's something a lot of people say. Or they'll even say, I swear on my life. I swear on my life. That means, if I'm not telling the truth, may I be struck dead. May I die, hit by lightning, if I'm not telling the truth, okay? I swear on my life, I swear on my mother's grave. I swear on, I don't know, because I don't swear, so I'm trying to think of what people swear on. I swear, they say very serious things to try to get you to believe that what they're saying is true. Because most people will think, if you swear on your mother's grave or on your mother's life, everybody loves their mother, right? They should love. So you think nobody's going to put their mother's life in danger, so they must be telling the truth. So that's why people do it. And in Jesus's day, they were doing that. They were doing things like this. I swear by heaven. I swear by God. I swear by my house. I swear by my children. I swear, they were doing that to try to get people to believe them. You know, you couldn't just promise, you were swearing by all kinds of things. And in the US, of course, we swear by the Bible, which we should not. Mhm. That's the problem, because Jesus said, we shouldn't have to. We should not have to swear, and that's what we're gonna talk about. Okay, any questions on the word swear or sworn? Any questions on that? All right, let's move on. Throne. Throne, throne,
Wrong.
the THRONE, throne. Throne, not throne. That's a different spelling too, right? If I spell that, I have to spell like that. With the R, sorry, throne. But that's different. Throne, we're talking about throne, the other throne. Who sits on a throne? Huh? Huh? Who sits on a throne? God sits on a throne. Who else sits on a throne? A king, that's right.
Queen.
A queen. So thrones are for kings and queens and people in authority. Sit on thrones. Okay. Evil. We all know what evil is. We all have our own definition of evil. Sometimes it just really frustrates me though, in the US, that we use the word evil a lot. If we don't like a person or we don't like what they do, we say they're evil. You know, but evil is very serious. Evil means what? It means, it's the opposite of holy.
Yeah.
Evil's the other extreme of holy is evil. Evil to me means not only your works are evil, what you do is evil, but your thinking, your character, your person, everything within you, it's evil. So you can have evil deeds, you can do something that's evil, but you can also have evil people. Yes? That they only care about themselves and they don't care about anybody else. In fact, they hate people. They're so evil. You know, let's keep going. Principle.
Principles.
Now, in this case, a principal is not the person who runs a high school. Okay, that's also principal. If you have somebody that's over the high school or over the elementary school or junior high, is a principal. But this is a different principle. This principle means what? What's another word you could use for principle?
Regulation.
Okay, no, it's more than, it's not really regulations, huh?
Rule.
Principles are more than rules. They're similar to rules and regulations, but a principle is something that you do. You do it this way for a reason. What's the reason?
SOP. Something SOP.
SOP.
One, two, three. I do this thing.
Uh-huh.
Number one is 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you have you have like a list. That's true.
Yeah.
I have principles. If I say I have principles,
That is standard.
thank you. It's kind of like standard. Yeah, it's a standard. It's a standard that says, this is, I do this because I believe this, or because I have this value in my life. So values and our beliefs will determine the principles that we follow, right? So if you are a person of principle, that's what we say, I am a person of principles. Erase, 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 erase. You can say I am or he is a person of principles. That means that my decisions in life have meaning behind them. I don't just make a decision because, oh, today I want to do this. Well, you have a reason. A principle is a reason. It's a standard, as Lillian said. It's a standard. It's something that says, I do it this way for a reason. So that's why we say, I follow biblical, means from the Bible, right? Biblical principles. In my life, I follow biblical principles. If you follow biblical principles, that means that you follow the standard that's in the Bible. You have biblical principles. So that's why I don't do some things, and that's why I do other things, is based on biblical principles, okay? A person without principles, they just whatever, today I'll do this, tomorrow I'll do that, but there's no reason. You ask them why you did that? Why did you do that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. They never know. Why? I don't know. So we have to have principles. Okay, next. Keep one's word. To keep one's word, and they say it's an idiom, okay? What is an idiom? An idiom is something that, a phrase or a saying that we say, you know, to keep one's word. It has a meaning behind it, has something that, you know, it's just like, I was trying to think of a different idiom. But anyway, what does it mean to keep one's word? Yes, thank you. Keep your promise. Keep your promise is to keep your word. You should keep your word.
Got my word.
You got my word. I give you my word. When we say I give you, I promise you, another way to say it is I give you my word. I give you my word. Because why? Why can I say that? Because my word is my bond.
Keep your word is principle.
Huh?
Keep your word.
Is a biblical principle. Yes. Keeping your word is a biblical principle. That's true. I give you my word. My word is my bond. Now, if your word is your bond, somebody tell me what is a bond? What is a bond?
That's like a line.
A line?
界限. I don't know how to say 界限.
No, that's a boundary.
A boundary.
That's a boundary. What's a bond?
It's like the insurance.
An insurance, okay? Okay, yes. If you're bonded to somebody or something, you're connected, right? Now, if I am arrested and taken to jail, if I have to go to jail and I want to get out of jail before the trial, the judge may say, okay, you have to pay a bond.
Certain amount.
It's a certain amount of money. That's your bond. And that bond keeps you connected to the court. How? Why? Because you want that money back. Right? So if the court says you have to give the court $10,000 so you can be free until your trial, then you give the court 10,000. Then when you come back for your trial, the court will give you back the $10,000, right? If you don't come back, the court keeps the money, but also you're arrested again and put in jail. So they try to find you. So that's what a bond is. A bond is something that, as we noted before, it keeps you connected. As long as you have a bond, okay? Also, another way that we use the word bond is, okay, bond, we also use the word bound, which has to do with bond. I am bound by a contract. Right? I am bound by the contract. If you're bound by the contract, that means you cannot get out of the contract. I'm bound by a contract. I have to follow the contract. So I'm bound.
It's the same meaning of the link.
Yes, you're linked, but bond is more of like, almost picture in your mind, you're handcuffed. Just like when you have I'm bound. I am literally connected. Whereas when you think of linked, link can have a connection too, but link is not as strong as a bond. Bond is stronger than a link. Like on a computer, right? We have links. I have a link on my Facebook, which will take you to another Facebook page. So you click on the link takes you somewhere else. So that is also connected, but a bond is more serious. It's more serious, okay? And it's more legally binding. So to keep one's word, you can keep your word, you can break your word. We should always keep our word. And once again, we give our word. I give you my word. Or you have my word. You can also use have, H-A-V-E. You have my word. That means I promise you. You have my word. I will do this. I will do that. Okay, any questions on this one? Okay, honesty. How important do you think honesty is in relationships? I've heard this saying in English before. Honesty is overrated. Have you ever heard that? Honesty is overrated. Have you heard it? Anybody heard that before? Honesty is overrated. What does overrated mean? Huh, Steven? If something is overrated,
Much.
too much, yeah, that's right. It's thought too highly of. It's not correct, like to rate something, if I rate something, like I will give it a grade, like a star. Let's say you go to a movie, you go and see a movie, and then you rate the movie, whether it's good or bad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, right? 1 star to 5 stars. That's rating. I'm rating a movie, or I'm rating a hotel, or whatever you say. It's 5 stars, it's 4 stars, 3 stars. If I say something is overrated, that means that I saw 5 stars. Wow, this is a great movie. Then I go see the movie and I walk out, I'm disappointed, and I say, that movie was overrated. That movie was overrated. That was no good. That's not a good movie. So it's overrated. Now, there's a saying in English, sorry, Danny. Honesty is overrated. Because we all talk about, I'm not saying this is a right sentence. I'm saying this is something that is said in English. You hear this a lot in English. Honesty is overrated. Because we have another saying, this counteracts that saying. We have another saying that says, honesty is the best policy. There we go. Good job. You guys know, all our idioms in English. Honesty is the best policy. A policy is something that you take out on your home or something, a policy. A policy is like insurance, right? So if you say, I have a great policy on my home, that means I just have great insurance on my home. So when we say honesty is the best policy, when you're honest, you don't have to worry about somebody coming back later and proving that you lied. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry that somebody is going to later say, oh, that person said this, but this is the truth. So that's why we say honesty is the best policy. But then sometimes when you say that, people will say honesty is overrated. Now, the reason that people sometimes say that, and once again, I don't agree, but I will tell you this. The reason people say that is because when we're honest with people, what happens?
Maybe you will lose the money.
Maybe you lose money, yeah? For example, you want to sell your car. All right? You want to sell your car. Your car is 10 years old. You know all the problems with your car. Do you tell everybody who comes to see your car what's wrong with the car? No. Why? You won't get a good price. You want a good price for your car. So people are like, if I'm honest, then what happens? The price goes down. So that's why people use this phrase, honesty is overrated, because if I'm honest, sometimes I lose. Now, then the other people come back and say, no, honesty is the best policy, because after you sell the car and they find out what's wrong with it, what happens with you? They will sue you, or you'll lose your good reputation. Because they will say, they didn't tell me, they lied to me, or they didn't tell me what was wrong. So, which is better, have a good reputation or have money?
Both.
Both. There you go, Tina. Have both. Have a good reputation and money. Have both. If you can do that, yes, I agree. If you can do both. But always keep your integrity, keep your good character. But it's true, honesty is overrated sometimes because people get mad at you if you're honest. Or you lose money if you're honest. That's why people say honesty is overrated. I don't say that. I really believe honesty is the best policy, but I can see why some people say honesty is overrated. Because you don't always get what you want when you're honest. True? Sometimes you get what you don't want when you're honest about something. Then you say, honesty didn't pay. It didn't pay. It didn't give me anything. Okay, next. Next we go back. We go back to page 33. We're going to start reading. Okay. Oh, here we go. Let's read. Page 33.
What is the difference between a promise and a vow? We make a promise to assure people that we will do something. Actually, we live in a social
Society.
society where people often lie or fail to keep their promise. That's why there is a need for things such as contracts, legal agreements, and manufacturing guarantee. The law is a pledge to do or act in a specific way. For example, when you make a special vows, when you get married, how serious do you take it is when someone does not keep his her vow? What should your consequences be?
Okay.
So here, I find it interesting that they asked the question, what is the difference between a promise and a vow? Can you tell me what they said the difference is?
Vow is much serious than promise.
Yeah, a vow is more serious than a promise, that's for sure, because a vow, as they said here, is a pledge. It's like making a contract, a pledge. A pledge is like an oath, like Danny brought up. A pledge is like an oath. Pledge, Pledge. Pledge means like, we as Americans will pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. As a matter of fact, that's the first line of our Pledge of Allegiance. We say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. So a pledge is that oath, okay? And a promise, we make promises to assure people, giving assurance. Now, assure, you hear the word assurance and you hear the word insurance, they sound the same because it's very similar. Insurance says that I have a policy that will pay if something bad happens. Whereas assurance says, I promise, I assure you that I will do something. So there's usually not a vow or an oath or a contract with a promise, but with a vow, there is. There's usually a contract, a promise, like they said. So why do we need vows, or why do we need all these things? What's the reason we need them? Why do we have to make people put their hand on the Bible and raise their hand?
Trust.
Huh?
Cannot trust you.
Cannot trust people. Exactly. That's the whole reason we have agreements, contracts, pledges, is because it's hard to trust people. But even if you have a pledge, people lie, right? There's some people that lie. So here it says, we live in a society where people often lie or fail to keep their promises. That's why there is a need for things such as contracts. A contract, we all know what a contract is. I'm sure everybody has signed a contract at one time or another. Legal agreements. Okay, now what is the difference between a contract and a legal agreement? It's just that a contract may not be registered with the government. A legal agreement is registered with the government, okay? And a money back guarantee, we talked about that before. So a vow is a pledge to do or act in a specific way. For example, you make special vows when you get married. Right?
No.
No, you didn't? He keeps saying that, and Lillian every time says, yes, you did, you just don't
I
remember.
just, dinner party, I never.
You just had a party? You just- I don't believe that. I don't believe you didn't make a vow. You did not make a vow. You did not make a vow to love your wife in sickness and health and
I don't like it.
you don't like this?
Yeah.
Lillian, why? Why?
我没什么介绍一切的。
怕我们大家睡着，讲话给我们听，是不
I
是？
tell you true 啊，only the party。
真的吗？
真的。
So you were, so if I understand you correctly, Danny, Danny, if I understand you correctly, you were not there for the wedding. You just showed up for the party. Is that right? You weren't there during the wedding.
我真的没有什么介绍，我不喜欢上台去了啊，这个什么什么。
你介绍了双岁了。
盖章就算了。
哦，双
You
岁
just like the party,
对，懂。
not the commitment. Oh,
I
Lillian,
say that only trust.
trust.
Trust him, trust her, you trust me. That is that.
So you,
怎么跟
so you think like Jesus thinks, right? You think the same as Jesus, right? We don't have to pledge or do a vow because our yes should be yes, right? Our yes should be yes, our no should be no. You should trust.
Before
That's what Jesus said.
Before I go to a whole year to mainland China. She trusts me. And it's the Taiwan, I trust her.
And you trust, yeah, when you're apart from each other, you trust each other. Well, that's what good relationships are built on trust, that's true. So why do we have to have a marriage contract? Why? Do you know why? Why do we need to get married and have a contract?
That means to be enforced
To be enforced, because why?
because of the between the husband and wife.
Okay.
To be a mutual and all.
But why do we have contracts in the first place? What's the reason for a contract? Or a legal agreement? What's the reason we have it? I'm not saying we should not. I'm saying, but what's the reason behind it?
Protect.
Yes, that's right. Right. That's right, because we have responsibilities to each other and we need to protect ourselves. Even, like I said before, if you even lend money to a family member, you should have a contract. Yeah, even if they're family, but why? To protect yourself. Protect yourself.
Take your interest.
And protect your interests, that's right. So even though you're in love with this person and you know they love you, you still protect yourself. Because maybe one day they love somebody else more. I'm just saying. So that's why, because of experience and over the years, people learn.
That's why they have a contract. They don't have to make any marriage or any girlfriend.
With contracts and legal agreements keep you honest,
Enforce.
right? They keep you honest. They keep you on the right track. It's a little bit more motivation to do what's right. But it's sad that we have to do that, but we have to in these days, we have to have,
How about the Middle East? They have 5 wives.
yeah. They have, bless their hearts. 5 different wives, they have a different way of looking at things. That's it, very different.
Yeah.
And in that, the wife has no legal standing. The wives don't get anything, so it's a very different world. So when you look at this, for example, you make special vows when you get married. How serious do you think it is when someone does not keep his or her vow? You think it's serious? Yeah, very sad. So you have contracts and agreements to also let you know what will happen if you don't keep it. Right? Because if you don't keep your vow, there is consequences. Do you think there should be consequences? Yes, there should be consequences if people don't keep their vows. Why should there be consequences? Because of the pain, because of the difficulty that it causes other people when we don't keep our vows. True? So there are consequences. Okay, let's go to the next page. Any questions on that page before we move to the next one? Okay, Philip.
You have also heard that people were told in the past, you break your promise, but do what you have vowed to the Lord to do. But now I tell you, do not use any vow when you make a promise. Do not swear by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by earth, for it is the resting place for his feet, nor by Jerusalem, but it is the city of the great king. Do not even swear by your head, because you can't make a single hair, or single hair white or black. Just say yes or no. Anything else you say comes from the evil one.
Okay. All right, so this is Jesus talking, and Jesus said, you also have heard that people were told in the past, do not break your promise, but do what you have vowed to the Lord to do. Now, Jesus is talking about the teaching in the Old Testament, because the Old Testament taught about vows and taking vows and what you should and should not do. It also talks about consequences. If you don't keep your vow, what will happen? So, over time, after God gave the law and consequences, over time, people tried to find, in the law, they tried to find loopholes, right? What's a loophole? A loophole is,
That's
yeah, a loop is like that, but wait.
for example, there's maybe there is a hole. Then some people try to use this loophole hole to make illegal things or wrong things to do.
That's right, Philip. So a loophole in a law is something that people look for to get around the law. Okay? So the law says, I cannot divorce my husband. Okay? The law says you cannot get a divorce. But doesn't really say what exactly, you know, that so over the years, the law began to have a little bit of changes to it. 到最后变成可以 right? But a loophole is something that they find a mistake or something 没有那么清楚 in the law that makes it where, oh, I might be able to do this because of this. Right? That's a loophole. What? What is it? Okay. So if you do a loophole, if you have a loophole in a law, that means maybe you found a way that you don't have to keep that law. Well, that's what the people were doing in the time of Jesus. So Jesus was saying, you know the law. The law says, do not break your promise, but do what you have vowed to the Lord to do. You know what that is. But here, as in the other lessons we've learned, we talked about adultery, we talked about anger, different things. Jesus's standard, his principles are higher than that. So what is Jesus saying? He's saying, now I tell you, do not use any vow when you make a promise, right? Don't use any vow. Do not swear by heaven. Why? Why should you not swear by heaven? Yes, because it is God's throne. It doesn't belong to you. Right? So you're swearing by somebody else's property. Doesn't belong to you. It belongs to God. Heaven belongs to God. Then he says, don't swear by earth. Why? It's the resting place for whose feet? God's feet. So in other words, another way to say that earth is God's, not God's feet. God's footstool. A footstool is where you put your feet. If I sit in a chair and I put my feet on something, that's a footstool. The old King James English, instead of says it is a resting place, it used the word footstool because that's what we use, footstool. A stool is something you sit on, right? Usually, like there's lots of stools out there. We have plastic stools out there, but a footstool is something where you put your feet. So earth is God's. Heaven belongs to who? God. Earth belongs to who? God. It doesn't belong to us. You can't swear by something that doesn't belong to you. Next, do not swear even by Jerusalem, because Jerusalem at that time was the Israelites' capital city, right? It was the Jews' place where they went to worship. But he said, don't swear by Jerusalem because why? Yes. It's the city of the great king. Who is the great king? God. So who owns Jerusalem? God. There we go. Do not even swear by your head. Your own head. Why does he say don't swear by your own head? You cannot control what even happens on your own head. You can't control it. Why? Who controls what happens on our head? There we go, God. So who owns our head? God. So therefore, if we swear by heaven, if we swear by earth, if we swear by a city, if we even swear by our own body, I swear by my own life, we are actually swearing by God, which you are not to do. That's what Jesus is saying. Do not swear by God. It doesn't belong to you. It is God's. So you're using God's property to swear. So therefore, you're saying, okay, if it doesn't happen, this property, something bad can happen to it. Well, it's not yours. It's God's. So God says, don't do that. Jesus said, don't do that. Instead, what should we do? Instead of swearing, he says, what should you do instead of swearing? Thank you. Say yes or no. That's it. In Old English, it says, let your yes be yes. let your no be no. Just say yes or no. Anything else just comes from the evil one. Now, the evil one is who? Who's the evil one? Who? Thank you, Lillian. Satan. He is the evil one. He is the one that is the father of all lies. Satan is the maker, the father of all lies. So what Jesus is trying to say is just be honest. Just tell the truth. Yes, I can. No, I can't. Instead of, yes, I can. I promise I'll be there. If I'm not there, then you can do that. Just say, yeah, I'll be there. Or no, I won't be there. Okay. Next, Numbers 23:19.
God is not like people who lie. He is not a human who changes his mind. For whatever he promises, he does, he speaks, and he is honest.
God is not like people who lie. He is not a human who changes his mind. You see, that's why we talk about marriage vows, is because sometimes people change their mind. But God doesn't change his mind in that way. Now, what he's talking about is when he makes a vow, when he makes a commitment, he doesn't change his mind. That doesn't mean that God doesn't change his mind. He does. The Bible talks about where God changed his mind many times. He changed his mind. Why? Because people came to him and asked him, have mercy. Right? So you look, when God wanted to destroy certain cities, Abraham, Moses, many people came before God and said, please don't, and God changed his mind. So it doesn't mean he doesn't change his mind. It means he doesn't change his mind when he makes a promise. He doesn't say, oh, I wish I hadn't made that promise. I'm just going to put that to the side. It's like I never made it. No, God, when he makes a promise, he keeps his promises. Whereas people sometimes will come back and say, oh, I'm sorry, you know, I told you I would, but I really don't think that's good for me. So, but God doesn't do that. And then whatever he promises he does, he speaks, and it is done. God is faithful. Okay. Psalm 119, 89 to 90.
Your word, O Lord, will last forever. It is eternal in heaven. Your faithfulness endures through all the ages. You have set the earth in place, and it remains.
Yes. Your word, O Lord, will last forever. Eternal means forever. It is eternal in heaven, and your faithfulness endures through all the ages. Another way to say that is goes from generation to generation. So God's faithfulness will continue. Even when we are not faithful, God is faithful. You have set the earth in place, and it remains. What does that mean? You have set the earth in place and it remains. What does that mean? If something remains, what does remains mean? Stays, right? It stays. It doesn't leave. It doesn't disappear. You have set the earth in place and it remains. It really is a miracle, right? when you think about it, you know, we just had some astronauts that were brought back from outer space back to the Earth. And when you think about the Earth and how it is set in this world, it's amazing that the Earth continues to rotate, continues to stay. It is just like so close from not being able to exist. It's just amazing. Only God can do something like that. Okay, now we come to question time. Are you guys ready to answer your questions? No, okay. Well, that's all right. Ready or not, we're gonna start. Have you ever made a vow? I know Danny has never made one because,
That's a picture.
oh, in competition.
Yeah,
So competition, you can make a vow, but marriage, you cannot make a vow.
you trust. Honest.
Honest, okay.
Point
So,
is honest.
yeah, be honest with each other, trust each other, okay. Anybody else, anybody ever made a vow? Yes?
I don't have, so everybody can.
Yeah, everybody else has made a vow, except Danny, okay? What about you, Sarah? Hmm. So, when you make a vow, do you ever have what we call second thoughts? Second thoughts? You know, second thoughts means, oh, I thought about it again. I thought about it a second time. Second thoughts. Like, let's say you decide to marry someone, and then after a couple weeks, you have second thoughts. Okay, so you're thinking again, I just saw something or heard something that makes me have second thoughts. Maybe this is not the person for me. Or whatever, that's second thoughts. Have you ever made a vow and then had second thoughts? Maybe marriage, yeah. A lot of people do. A lot of people on even getting married, you know, after they're married and they really get to know the person, they have second thoughts. Yeah. Peachy don't. Bad tempers, yeah, or you get sick, or you have financial problems, or you don't agree on things. Like you don't agree how to raise the children.
We married, we have a lot of relationship.
Mhm.
We need to each other.
That's right.
So a lot of things we need to change.
Mm.
Sometimes each other they won't change. Yeah, and later on listen your opinion.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will be.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes you will be lonely. So, many years ago, and then I was thinking, I just promise together.
Okay, but that's good. That's a good point, because when you get married, you not only make a covenant with the person you marry, you make a covenant with God,
Yeah,
right?
and I know I can change others.
Yeah.
I can help myself.
Yeah, you can't change your husband, you can only change yourself. That's true. Yeah, and everybody has things we don't like about them. Even the people we love the most in our life, there are things we don't like. Right? There are things that we do different. There are different ideas, right? So we have to, that's why it's so important before you get married that you know who you're marrying, and then you also make up your mind that this is forever. This is forever, and it's hard. It's hard, because I was thinking, I told you my story about my twin sister, you guys met her and everything. She went through a divorce. It was very hard for her. But then they got remarried. Because he changed. Which was an amazing thing. It was a miracle. Really, it was a miracle. But she would tell you, when she married him for good or bad. And sometimes the bad outweighed the good in the marriage, and it was really hard. And when you think about vows are something that you don't make lightly. You make it with a lot of thought. And sometimes, when you have the problems of can't communicate, or you disagree, or different things, the second thoughts, you can't let them enter your mind, because you already made the vow. So the second thought you have to take captive and get rid of. Because if you allow it to stay in your head, it will affect how you feel. And it'll affect how you act. Yeah. And so I admire all of you that's been married for a long time. It's not easy. It takes grace. God bless you guys. I'm free, so hey. Okay. And I'm not saying it's wonderful just to be single. I'm not saying people should be single. What I'm saying is life is hard. Life is hard, no matter what you choose, no matter what your path, life is hard. And so we just have to be careful what we promise, because God does care about what we promise. Okay, so let's look at number 2. What contrast? A contrast is what? A contrast is you compare this with that, okay? What contrast does Jesus make between past and present ideas about vows? What does he say? Before you thought this, now I tell you this. What is the difference? Mm-hmm.
It's a true story, love story. And one, I think it's the American pastor. When his wife very sick, cancer, got a cancer. But he still loved her. He said, I will with her until she's passing away. That's very good love story.
Yeah, that's for better or worse, for sickness and in health. So when you think about the difference, did Jesus say we should do compared to what was done in the past? Before, everyone made a vow. Everybody, I swear by heaven, I swear by my mother's grave, I swear by this. But Jesus said now we should do what? What's the biblical principle we should follow? Thank you. Just say yes or no. Like Danny said, Danny knows a biblical principle, which is just say, you can trust me. Right? Trust each other. Yes or no. If I say yes, I mean yes. If I say no, I mean no. It's simple. It sounds simple. It's not that simple, but it does. But that's the difference. So why do people make vows? And what is the danger of using God's name to make a vow? What's the reason most people will make a vow? We talked about this before. Don't trust. Don't trust me. Or protect myself, or, you know, there's reasons for vows. There is reasons. Now, what if you bring God into the vow? What is the danger of using God's name? If you use God's name when you make a vow, and then you break the vow, it's not a good situation, right? Because the Bible, actually the Old Testament talks about that. You have to follow through with the vow if you bring God into the vow. Because now you're swearing by heaven or by earth, or you're swearing by things that belong to God. And so when you bring God into it and God gets involved, you have to be careful. There was one other thing I was gonna say, Helen, because you just brought something up and I forgot. What was it you just said?
Love story?
No, there was something else. You just,
This way, but
oh, I remember what it is. I wanted to ask you this question. It's a Bible trivia question. Who in the New Testament swore? Swore. That's a past tense for swear. Who in the New Testament swore? Think about it for a second. If you know the New Testament stories, who in the New Testament swore? Yes, very good, Rebecca. Peter swore, and that was after Jesus taught not to swear, right? After that, when did Peter swear? No, not that time. Before that. After, yeah, that's right. After Jesus was caught and he was arrested, and where was Peter? That's right. When he was being questioned, yeah, when he was being questioned by the people, aren't you a disciple of Jesus? No, he's not. And then the third time, remember, because he denies him 3 times. The third time, the Bible says he swore. He swore. Peter swore because he wanted them to believe him. Was he lying? Yes, he was lying. He was a disciple of Jesus. Peter was lying. Hello? I know people don't want to hear that, but it's true. Peter was lying. He was a disciple of Jesus, but he used swearing to try to convince the people he was telling the truth. But he was lying. Yeah, Jesus knew before Peter knew that, and he told Peter, before the rooster crows, you'll deny me 3 times. And the last time when he swore, the roosters started crowing. Right at that moment. I can't even imagine how Peter felt. I would probably have fallen on the ground in total devastation. But it also goes to show you. Yeah, he's terrified. He doesn't want to be crucified. He's afraid. So yeah, I'm so thankful that God understands our fear, and he understands our frailness as humans too. He understands that sometimes we're going to mess up, we're going to make a mistake. And I'm like David, I would rather fall into the hands of God than man, because God is merciful.
confession. They will ask you must say you don't believe
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah,
then I will
Yeah.
release you.
yeah,
But
yeah.
otherwise I'll kill you
Mm.
right away.
Yeah, a lot of people have to deal with that today. You have to promise, you have to swear. So why did Jesus teach, number 4, why did Jesus teach people not to swear by heaven, earth, or anything else? Because why? Just be honest, but why should we not swear by heaven, earth, or your head? That's right, Caitlin, because it doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to you, you know? Even if you swear on your mother's grave doesn't belong to you either, you know? Okay, number 5, what do you think Matthew 5:36 means? Matthew chapter 5, verse 36. What does it mean when Jesus said, do not even swear by your head because you cannot make a single hair white or black? Yeah, belongs to God, and your head belongs to God, and who makes your hair white or black? God does. He chooses. Unless woman run tova, then that's a little bit different, but no, I'm kidding. But your natural hair, God chooses your natural hair. So because of that, he's in control. So why do I swear about something that I have no control over? Right? I have no control. I've even heard people say stupid things like, I swear it will rain tomorrow. Yeah, you don't know. Even if you think it will, you don't know. I can't believe people say stuff like that. Okay, number 6. According to verse 37, what principle did Jesus say we should use when answering others, and why? Yeah? Just say yes or no. Why? Yeah. Anything else you say comes from the evil one. Because if you have to say more than yes or no, you're probably lying. You're probably like Peter. You're probably lying and trying to convince somebody that you're not lying. Okay. Number 7, read Numbers 23:19 and Psalm 119, 89 and 90. And what do these verses tell us about God? And how do these verses change our understanding of making vows?
That's not like, it's human. It's not, whatever he grants it has.
So what does that tell us about God? He never lies. He keeps his promises, keeps his word. He is faithful. So therefore, if we want to be like God, to be like Jesus,
Never lie.
then we should be faithful. We should be honest and keep our word. Really, that's what the lesson is talking about. We want to be like Jesus. Jesus said, hey, just let your yes be yes and your no be no. And you won't have to go back and say sorry. You won't have to pay extra money. You won't be sued if you just let your yes be yes and your no, no. And then number 1, a time to reflect. What difference would it make to our families and society if we all kept our word? This is not in the book. This is just for you to say what you think. What kind of society or family would we have if we all kept our word? Peaceful. Thank you. Peaceful. Peaceful. you know? There's too many things going on today where countries don't keep their word. Leaders don't keep their word. Parents, politics,
Lie always.
lie. And even in families, people don't keep their word. So if we want peace and we want righteousness, we have to learn to keep our word. You know, if you don't know if you can do something, don't say yes. Say, I'll think about it. Or let me go back and check my calendar. Or, you know what I mean? Otherwise, we overcommit. And we end up feeling bad, guilty because we weren't able to do what we said we would do. And the last question is, do you think the saying honesty, here we go, honesty is the best policy is true?
True.
Why or why not? Okay, Danny, why? It's positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep the positive one. Get rid of the negative one. Honesty is overrated. Let's keep honesty is the best policy. But why do you think it's the best policy? A policy is like insurance, right? So if I am always honest, what kind of insurance do I have? I ensure that people will not be angry with me. Well, that's not true. Because sometimes when you're honest, people get angry, right? I ensure that I don't have to apologize for lying. Hey, Linda, I was gonna tell her I have the keys up here. Okay. Honesty is the best policy. It's not always easy, is it? Do you find it easy to be honest? No. Why not? Because you care what other people think? Or we want what we want, so we try to manipulate to get what we want? What's the reason?
Because honesty is very important. If you do the business, right? But then if you lie, maybe they will believe you, right? The after that, maybe something happened, you got in trouble. So honesty is very important.
Honesty is important. And what's the difference between honesty and telling the truth? Is there any difference? It's the same. So the Bible says we are to tell the truth in love. Yes?
Yes.
In love. So honesty is only the best policy if it includes love. Right? Because if it doesn't include love, honesty can kill. I think. Because I might be telling you the truth, but if I tell you with bitterness or hatred in my heart or resentment or jealousy, I can hurt you. So the important thing for us is, yet let your yes be yes, let your no be no, but also if you're going to be honest, make sure that you have the love of God and the love for others in your heart when you're honest. Because people that love you can tell you anything and it will be okay. Really. There are people who can say anything to me and it will be okay, because I know they really care about me. Right? So if we care about each other, we can be honest with each other, right? Okay, any questions or comments?
I never guarantee, I never guarantee the someone, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. I guarantee
做保
做
做保 Okay.
guarantee 做
Mhm.
I guarantee.
Mhm. Because you think it's wrong?
I don't know. I think.
I'm honest, so I just can't do that.
Yeah, yeah. The guarantee is good.
Okay. All right.
You guarantee?
Do I give Gary, I've signed contracts, of course, I have a home that I'm paying on, I have a contract, it's called a mortgage. That's a contract. Vows, no, because I've not gotten married, so I haven't made a vow. But I pledge allegiance all the time, every time a flag goes up, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. So we pledge, that's different. A vow says that if I don't do this, there will be consequences. That's what a vow is. That's different than a pledge or an oath.
I mean, that you guarantee someone.
To someone? I don't think it's real, no, I can't think of anything right now. Not where there would be consequences. You know what I mean? Cause I think of it as consequences. No, can't think of anything. Okay. Anybody else have a question or comment? Okay, let's pray. Father, thank you again for the privilege that we have to be together. Thank you for the time that we have to spend together. And thank you, Lord Jesus, because you are faithful. And you're faithful even through the difficult times. And thank you because you're not willing that we stay the same. Your desire for us is that we grow and that we change and that we learn to live life in the best way so that our families, our church, our society will be one of peace and love and joy and righteousness. So thank you, Lord, for teaching us your ways. Now help us to put your word in our heart and to obey it so that we can please you. And we'll give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, thank you guys for being here today. We do have class next week, okay? So looking forward to seeing you. And next week, we're going to be on chapter 7. This is a great one, loving our enemies. Loving our enemies, one of the hardest things to do in the Bible. We're going to talk about it next week. So everybody bring a list of enemies. No, I'm kidding. Don't bring your list of enemies.
去哪里买的？
No, this is a newer song. It's a newer song. No, everybody's on a new song, so it's not an old song.